Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Basically, in summary, it's going to be another episode of Why I Broke Up with Mr. No Heart. And this is going to be talking about family, mommy issues, and just how when you watch the news, it's okay. When you watch the news and a black man does something wrong, people blame that on the entire black community. This is what's wrong with African Americans. They stereotype us, they put us down or whatever. But then when a black person does something amazing, oh, it's only because he's black. Oh, black privilege, DEI. He doesn't deserve it. So we deserve it if they committed a crime, but we don't. When it's amazing, like a promotion or a CEO type of thing, or they started their own business, or maybe they're going to be the quarterback of the team. It's like you do not know how many times, like either with shows or even people I know, especially my ex's mother, they only got that because they're black. And with me, when me finishing 3 degrees, and I think she knew about my certifications, but I don't think so. But I remember this, I've mentioned this so many times. You guys already know if you've been listening, but the only reason you got into college is because you're black. Mm, honey. You don't even, ooh. Because I had to remind her that her white, able bodied, straight son dropped out of college. It's like, and like some of her other kids didn't go, like her youngest daughter had certifications, or especially with hair and things like that. So I'm like, hey, w- yeah, we need, like, well, not we, because she kind of, she kept hinting that she would never be able to do a black woman's hair, she would never do a black person's hair. So it's, I sometimes they were being racist without being like, because even when she would see my afro, like, 'cause, like, sometimes I wore like sew-ins or wigs or whatever, but there was a time where I was like, you know what, I'll go natural today or whatever. And the comment she made about my hair, and I'm just looking at her like, you went to cosmetology, you have your license and things, and the things you are saying are kind of upsetting, but I'm not going to say anything because being in Lake City, Michigan, I don't want to end up strange fruit, because the way that your neighbors and your community stares at me, and even when we went out to breakfast, they had to exchange waitresses because she refused to serve me at the table. Yeah, and even while we were walking out, the way they stared and glared at me. Yeah, yeah, okay. But anyway, I just find it really amusing. And I also told you guys, because every time I do an episode where I talk about the hate that black women get and the disrespect and how they put us down and stereotype us, and basically they try to put us in such a uncomfortable, dehumanizing position. But then when it comes to white men, they're like, they're in, I don't know what's going on with them, but they're just like, you need to uplift us more. You need to praise us more. You need to give us raises when we don't deserve it. You need to give us positions just because. It's like, since I am a white, able bodied male, you are obligated to treat me like I'm deserving, because that's how we took over this country in the first place. I mean, come on, guys. Look at our history. Look at the history of this country. And especially, okay, when it's like I've heard online and even offline, especially because when I say, it's like when I block some of these men who, because there's been a few times where I match with a guy on dating apps, and most of this is before November of 2022. And this is when, because I didn't have the political stance on, like, I didn't have the list of standards. But then while talking to them, I'm like, oh, you're a racist, but you're trying to date a black woman. How? And some people ask, how does that make sense? Remember, slave owners had kids with slaves, so it's very possible. It's very possible, and well, in my opinion, Kid Rock, remember him, and then also Megan Kelly, yeah, for five. That's all in my opinion. That's all in my opinion. But come on now. But it's just when I see how they demand how they are treated, and then within history, it's like they act like they were the first ones here. No, boo boo, and that's one reason they're trying to change the museums and everything. They they want to keep it a secret, or they don't want to get emotional. They don't want their feelings hurt. Even though with the Native Americans, and it's really funny how they say that the first one's here, but it's like, okay, think about like the Native Americans. Look up the word native. And also, if Native Americans were here already before you, that means you weren't here first. Yeah. Yeah. So, so I don't know. It's like, but it's like it's just crazy sometimes when I talk about politics and history with a lot of the Caucasian demographic. But things changed once I created the list. But then some men still lied because they said that it's like because once I caught them, they would tell me how liberal women are more fun or interesting. But it's like, and I've heard before how some like with different podcasts and everything like that, how they did research on why conservative men try to date and marry liberal women. And yes, they're spot on. A lot of conservative men, like they love the capture, they love the taking over, they love changing a woman or making a woman do as they want in the whole power construct. And it's disgusting to me, and that's one reason why I've decided I'm never getting married. No. Mm-mm. And I mean, there's so many other reasons. Check back at the other 500 episodes, but I don't trust most men. I can't trust most men because, especially financially, like a lot of these men, okay, I don't know if it's Gen X or millennials or whoever, but a lot of these men don't know how to manage money, or, and I understand minimum wage, like, and this always reminds me of some of the debates I had during COVID when I was doing the streaming and stuff. Because again, debating conservative white men, or basically men similar to CK, or it's amazing because when we get to minimum wage, and then these men, who cares about minimum wage? No one cares about that. And then all like sometimes, or I think months later, once I started putting the patterns together, it was amazing because unless it affected that man, he did not care. But you mentioned grocery prices, then they kind of cared. But minimum wage, no, because a lot of these men didn't pay taxes anyways, or their parents were just going to hire them into the family business. So they had no reason to care about much of anything because everything was going to be given to them, or they were going to be able to cheat the system. But since they're white, nothing was going to happen to them. And it was just like I it's just disgusting, and like it's amazing to watch because especially watching the reality, but then when you bring up the reality to them, and then they want to just tell you it's in your head, or oh, that means you're woke, that means you're like you're just trying to make something out of nothing. And I'm like, but you don't care about healthcare for other people. You don't care about the children who aren't able to eat 3 meals a day. That's their problem. Their children. Well, their parents shouldn't have had them anyways, but you're pro-life. Well, being pro-life doesn't mean like no, pro-life doesn't mean I need to feed them. That's their problem. Their parents should have been more responsible. They didn't choose their parents. And also, okay, before I get into the main topic, because it's probably going to be a part two to this, but all of this kind of carries on to the main idea of the day. But with those gentlemen who had the nerve to go to that historically black college university the other day, are you that desperate for attention? Are you that desperate for attention? Because, okay, especially with the all DEI should be illegal. Oh, I wish these no good, in my opinion, they're absolutely no good bigots. They need to debate someone like myself. And, oh, it's like I'm loving how now people are going like because a lot of his fans keep saying you took him out of context. So now people are pulling out the debates that he refused to post because he lost. And this is what I've been saying this in a couple of my episodes how he only wanted to post the ones where people were not well like rehearsed or they weren't well researched. They didn't have all of the items together like to to argue. And I've been saying this as well. This boy dropped out of community college. He was able like he got money from some rich bigoted like small-minded men or whatever to start and build the business and everything. And he basically learned, okay, let me remember these specific scriptures from the Bible. Most people don't know many outside of these common popular scriptures. So if I at least get them on these, and if I remember these stories like exactly and then pinpoint these objectives or also these points in history, most people don't know that much of this portion of history. So then I would be able to get them with that. He came prepared in a small-minded type of way, and that's how he was able to win, especially when it comes to undergrad students who, let's be real, they didn't like high school didn't teach us that much with especially African American history and things. They didn't. A lot of the African American history I learned was from my parents and family members because they went through segregation and desegregation, and from documentaries and reading. My mother, one thing that like you guys already know about the relationship with my mom, but one thing that she enforced on us, it's something that I love and appreciate, was learning, education, reading, like gaining information, being open-minded and things. So, and it's at the same time like she took us to church every Sunday, and it's just sometimes it was just really odd how like weeks where we were learning and getting things from books and then going to church, they would almost tell us to do the opposite. Only learn from the Bible, only believe in the Bible. It's like other books are just trying to put you into the other world. You don't want to be of the other world. And it's like, oh, so we're not supposed to know the truth? And like when it comes to African American history, Mr. Nohart, oh, that man bragged that he never learned about African American history. And they never cared, they never focused or talked about African American history when he was in school at all. And he said they never celebrated African American Month, and that there were only 3 students of color, K through 12, K through 12, while he was in school. He said that's it, that's all of them. And so with a lot, with the especially the way I think it's Oklahoma, like the way that like they're actually giving teachers tests to make sure they're not woke, to make sure that they are going to be teaching false history, false facts and things like, and well, basically not false facts, they're basically going to be lying to these students, kind of like that. um I called it Purdue, but it's not Purdue. It's something with the P. I was just like, ah, no, oops, there is a Purdue University, my bad. But it's that one, like, high school lessons for basically parents who probably want to get their kids ready to be in the alt-right groups, in my opinion. In my, because the way they want to teach about slavery and inner city and things like that is so backwards, awful, terrible, and like just all of the isms combined. It's like, it's kind of like the racist Captain Planet. Like, you have the racism, and then the basically like the bigotry and the hatred and the dehumanizing and the false history, like, put all of their rings together, and what do you get? You get a clan member. That's what you get. You get a, yeah, that's what you get. So, but with all of that, now look at the news and look at what's been happening this year. We have had so many mass endings to the point where I think it was on uh like the nightly news show, whatever, that they were like, we've had at least one mass ending every day this year. That's horrifying. And like a lot of, like, politically, everyone was like, it's the right, it's the left, it's the right, it's the left. Hold it, like, I'm not saying all of them are Caucasian white men, but come on now, God, like, okay, let's look at, like, we have a manly issue in this country, but especially because people always want to say black on black crime. What about the white on white crime going on right now in this country? And also the racism crime. Like, okay, don't forget about what happened with that grocery store and stuff like that, especially during COVID and stuff like that. And there's been other parts, especially with, speaking of the isms, like the LGBTQ bars and clubs and things like that. So, but especially this year, we've had a lot of white on white. So it's like they always want to blame and talk about black on black. But look at this year. Look at the pattern that we've been seeing this year. And also, it's like when it comes to dating white men, and it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna get hate because they're like, you're supposed to date black men. Why don't you date? I've tried. And that means you really need to go through my Patreon so you can look and see what black men say about me, with my education, with me investing, with me, like, wanting to start my businesses, with me, like, doing, like, a lot of my goals, and like, I mean, a lot, well, certain white people have an issue with it too. Let's get real. But it's like, usually, like, my type, or the type that I'm able to have a pleasant time with over dinner and everything, are left a certain type of left leaning white men, woke white men. And it's like, yay, a woke white man. Okay. Cause it's like, trust me, I I'm gonna have to create an episode about even the three black men from last week that tried to match with me, but then two out of the three are conservative, and one of them is not political at all. And there were a couple other things. Like, he even said, I want an obedient wife. Obedient. Okay, submissive is one thing, but now you say obedient? Nah, we good. We good. Nah, nah, I'm good on that one. And so, but it's like, I'll never forget how some of the men were like, in their bios. Women, if we're brave enough to write you, you are obligated to respond. You're supposed to respond to us and respect us. And as an experiment, because since things have slowed down after this, like, and it's funny how so many men were just like, Orange Man 2024, oh, you're just a hater, oh, you're just an N word, anyways, or oh, well, you're a Democrat. It's like, I'm glad you don't have kids, or I hope you miscarry because you're a Democrat, because who would want you as a mother, and all of this hate. It's like, see why, politics matter within a relationship, because these are all things. So, yeah, look at like I have okay, I won't even say I don't even have all the screenshots. My phone would have overloaded within a year and a half. Well, I'll say a year to a year and a half if I had screenshotted every single one. But especially if I got a repeat and I didn't screenshot the first time, I'm like, you know what, fair warning, whatever, screenshot. Like, and do you know how many, like, white men wow, do you know how many? It is immature for you to screenshot. You are not supposed to. These are private conversations. When you're telling me that I'm nothing but a B word for being a Democrat and that I should pass away or you should come by my house and eliminate me from the earth, you're telling me that that's a private conversation and I'm not allowed to post this for other people to see? Yeah, because the thing is, like, because I give fair warnings. Because on the dating apps, when I first started getting these messages, I'm like, you know what? Let me put some scarecrows out there. So I would like, I screenshotted a few of them and I put them in my dating app in the photos area. And so it's like, once I put that warning out there that I am not scared of you and I will post you up, so that's when they kept, like, that's when I started getting flooding of them. I'm like, okay, you want to get screenshot too. And then some of the men, when they saw theirs, you better post mine up. Or if I didn't post, oh, some of them, they wrote me because they wanted to be posted. So when I didn't, why isn't mine up there? Oh, I know I can do better. Oh, I'm gonna show you so much. I'm gonna scare you to to the point you can't sleep at night. And you wonder why you're single. You wonder why you're single. I know why you're single, but you don't know why you're single. Okay. Okay. But I don't know. It's like so many people, they're, I think they're just now finding out that the men are having a epidemic. Like, I mean, I know it's since, the women were kind of having their their time and everything with like with our situations of how we deal with men. And I've already told you guys, especially since my diagnosis, so this is even after the Me Too movement and everything, how men didn't care about that movement. Most men were just like, okay, so you whined, but I'm going to do what I want to do with you because you're a woman, you're man's property, whatever. I've told you guys the story about how a guy threw my walking device in the lawn, like, because he was like, oh, after we had lunch or whatever, it's like he was like, let's drive to a park, let's, you like, just look or sit out or whatever. And no, he wanted to force me to give him uh like, what, with this cucumber, whatever, but or eggplant, cucumber, whatever. So he threw out my walking device saying that he was not going to get it until he got that. And so then I told him, okay, well, then I'm just going to have to get out the car, crawl to get it, and call for an Uber because I do not feel safe with you. And that, and he was like, so yeah, thank goodness for Ubers. So, ladies, like, if you're going to be out on a date or whatever, make sure you have enough money, like, just in case you have to get an Uber if he tries to put you in an awful, terrible situation. And also have a backup friend or a text a friend. Like, it's like, if you can just figure out a really short word to text them, like, if you're in a, like, emergency or whatever. And because, yeah, I'm at a point where it's hard to trust these guys, and it's crazy and it's sad that we can't trust these men. And even after the Me Too movement, they're just like, I don't care, I'll still treat you like dirt, and I'm going to figure out smarter ways to do it where you won't be able to say anything, or I'm still not going to get caught or whatever. But then they forget about different technologies, and they forget, yeah, women are smart. It's like we have had to figure out ways to make sure that we are not going to be caught up in odd, terrible situations. Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's just sad, empathetic, and crazy. And with a lot of these men out here, oh, there's so many. Like, I've given you guys so many examples over the episodes. And I keep saying that because I don't want to keep repeating or whatever about like the different stories that I've already told. And I do have other stories and I will get to them, but I know that whenever I talk about the hate black women get, I get a thumbs down immediately that night. And it's like some people don't want to admit the hate that the black community, especially black women, get. And especially the people who followed you know who. It's like you took them out of context. No, no, we didn't. And also, most of the people that listened to him that said he was telling the truth are the ones that tell me that the only reason I got into college is because I'm black, or they tell me the only reason that I was able to be a like part-time professor was because I'm black. And the reason, like, and it's just, or oh, the reason why I was able to write a book, people are like, well, we know you got your ideas from someone else. We, because like there was this one guy off of the Meet Me app or whatever. He was like, well, who gave you your ideas? No one. I created the, it was from my imagination and probably from life is how I created everything. He was like, no, 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 well, I know you didn't do it. And I'll have a part two of this, but it's just people think so little of black women. They put us down all of the time, but now we looking at this epidemic is just appalling and crazy because people want to now blame black people for their issues. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable, but most importantly, I am human and you're human too.